Okay, this is going to be a quicker update than usual, and I'm doing this one to focus on why I think this double low solution that the models are providing is incorrect, and also to show you that you can in fact get a major snowstorm without a 50-50 low. I'm going to show you how that happens. So this one's sort of look at the models, see what's not necessarily right, and also a little bit of a synoptic lesson, if you will. Alright. First off, here is this is all valid at 12Z on Sunday. We're going to step through the 0Z NAM, then the 6Z, then the 12Z. Let's start with 0Z. Two features, one here, one down here, right? Remember that. This trough is way back, this ridge is very broad, and there's a stronger piece sitting in here, okay? I want you to remember that. Let's move on to 6Z. This is further back, this is weaker, this is more phased in. Remember, not just saying that, look at them for consistency. This Vortex here is, let's say right on, at this point here, it's right on the Great Lake border. If we look at 6Z, hey, look at that, it's south over the Great Lakes. Interesting, and it's also further back. And notice the ridging in here is more concentrated, a piece of it out front, and a piece sort of back to the west, but more amplification in general. Now let's go and look at 12Z. Hey, look at that. This feature in here has almost completely disappeared, which makes it very suspect in my mind that we see the double low solution. And that's what I'm saying. When you have this feature in here, which is continuing to trend weaker, this is not like what we saw this weekend, where we had a piece of energy sitting back here and there was like this wave along the front, this little front runner. So you got this little bit of a Vortex and this little bit of amplification out front. And what does that do? Well, same thing in this situation. What the models are doing is the front from the low that's in here right now, which is going to move up into Maine and further north, drapes the front along the east coast like this. So what do you get? You get, as soon as you get any energy coming in here, what you get is you get the low to start to form along the baroclinic boundary, and it just rides up. But what the models are seeing is this second feature in here. What we start to see is they develop yet another low in here, but because there's no phasing, this just bowls on east, and this low basically goes out and up to out to sea and up. That would be a very good storm for the coastal regions, but again, not what I think is going to happen here. We've seen this correction so many times this winter, I don't see a reason why it wouldn't happen again. But notice here at the 12Z, this piece bending in, and again, the correction that I make, this is going to be further south, this here is going to be a little further north in here, and you're going to get a much more phased solution that looks more like this, with the cutoff low in here, moving right along through and when we go to the eventual solution, I think what we're going to eventually see is something like this, with big trough in here. There might be another small low center sort of in here, so you get kind of one of these deals like that as the rest of the vortex phases in. And I will say one idea that I'm correcting from earlier this week is I don't think anymore that this is going to become the primary vortex. This feature down here should. It's trended a lot stronger on models than I think, and for once it looks like the southern branch is winning out. Alright, now let's take a look here how we can get a big snowstorm up the east coast without a 50-50 low. Remember, the worry when you don't have a 50-50 low or a negative NAO is the confluence zone gets way up here, and so what do you get? You get ridging out front here that's very strong, and pushes back, and you get a ridge up into the southeast. So what do you end up with? You get these things to amplify like mad in here, and then they just turn straight up. I don't see that happening. Two reasons. Okay, let's first go over what the 50-50 low does for us. Let's assume that we had a map that looked something more like this. You got one feature sitting back here, maybe another one, another southern branch thing in here, and general troughiness over the east, and here's your 50-50 low and negative NAO feature sitting back here like this. Okay, what happens? You pump the heights out front here, you pump the heights out back here. What happens? The two link over the top, forces this to come down and phase in, and because you have the heights that are strong out here and the heights that are strong in here, that forces this feature in here to come down and amplify, and bam, you get a big storm shooting up the East Coast. Now this can happen in another way. What's going on here? This ridge in here is so strong, and there's a piece extending up into here. Also, the key is this vortex up here. What that does is it shifts the confluence zone into here, but there's also a piece of it hanging back. What do you see? You see the heights building in front. They're not quite as strong as what you'd normally get with the 50-50 low, but because this PNA ridge is strong enough to counteract that, you still should expect to see this drop down, this come up, phasing, and everybody's happy along the East Coast. Okay? So let's dispel the rumor right now that you absolutely 100% need a 50-50 low to form a big storm. That's all. Another update possibly after the 0Z Euro. After the 12Z Euro. I think that it'll probably come more into line with my thinking. So far, the closest model to what I'm thinking is the Canadian, or the GEM. But even it's a little bit too far east. But we'll see. So stay tuned. We'll have more updates as the day goes on.